Welcome to A Little Too Frank, where if you haven't figured out the title of the show yet, it's because we're a little too frank about things we should probably talk about at much longer lengths. Like when we talk about homeless people dying somewhere and then we laugh about it, and it's like, we should clarify why we're laughing. But we decide not to.
It's fine.
It's just homeless people.
I mean, they're half people.
Wow!
Alright, that was...
Yeah, that was a little too far. Let's not be
know.
frank about... No, he's telling a joke.
It's like the 3/5 compromise.
Oh, jeez. You know who I do consider half people right now, though? EA.
Okay. I was like, I'm not sure where this is going. I didn't sign up for this. Yeah,
I consider EA half people right now.
They're pretty shitty. Pretty shitty.
So, I think everybody's heard about, like, who hasn't heard about the controversy of EA and the microtransactions in Battlefront 2? But I really do think it's a case of it's EA.
Yeah.
And it's not DICE, the developer.
Yeah, cause I watch Boogie 2988 a lot, and like he knows people over at DICE, and over there he talks to a lot of them, and they really they have a drive. They love Star Wars. They want to make a great game, but he says they get a lot of pressure from EA, and we've seen it many times before. EA is money hungry as fuck.
Oh yeah,
they just don't care.
And their CEO, he's got that fucking like smug ass chin, like he doesn't even look like somebody that gives a shit about video games. This is somebody that played fucking soccer or football in high school.
Yeah. He's definitely he saw the opportunity to make the money here, and he jumped for it, and he doesn't actually care about the...
I think EA as a whole jumped for it, but I definitely think he was leading the way.
Yeah, definitely.
So Tiger brought up the point, they undid the bullshit. They temporarily undid the bullshit. The microtransactions are coming back at a later date.
Mm-hmm. They've currently just been suspended because what they want to do is they want to overhaul them, but it has been confirmed that they will re-enter the game, but they're not gone.
Yeah, and it's interesting as to how they're going to re-enter the game. Although, where's that fucking gif of the mouse just beating... It's from South Park, the mouse that's just beating the shit out of the dude. It was a parody of Mickey Mouse that they did on South Park, and it was just a fucking mean-ass, version of Mickey Mouse who just went around beating the shit out of people. He's like, "You don't fuck with me!" And just so somebody had this fucking gif where he's like, "You don't fuck with Star Wars, you greedy son of a bitch!" And he's just beating the shit out of this dude that's got EA over his face on the floor.
I don't know. I have a lot of trouble with Disney anymore because there's just a lot of anti-Semitism jokes made about them.
Do you know there was a movie called The Song of the South?
Yes, I do, and it is bad. It is real bad.
So,
granted, it was made in a very different time.
The 50s.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't mean it's okay. It just means it wasn't. I'm trying. It was bad. It was bad. I can't say it wasn't bad.
It was racist as shit. Is what it was. Dude, it was so. So we were at HorrorCon up in Lexington.
Yeah.
That one year, and I didn't know about Song of the South until our Uncle James was with us, and he's walking around looking at the table, and he sees Song of the South in VHS. And it was he was like, "Oh, shit," and he bought it, right? Because you can't find that anymore.
No, yeah.
Disney, suppresses that shit so much, because Walt Disney was a racist son of a bitch.
He was in support of Nazi Germany.
Yeah, insanely so. And they're there's all kinds of crazy shit Disney does to cover up how bad of a person Walt Disney was. One of the things, just to show you how much they want to promote his positive image, he used to smoke. And he smoked till he died. But
he's frozen. He's not dead.
Yeah, he smoked till he was frozen in carbonite. put under a cavern under Disneyland.
He's under
in
the
Florida.
big statue of him, don't you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. In Carbonite, in a big Florida in Disneyland, or in a big cavern underneath Disneyland in Florida.
And he was revived once, but they brought him back, and they told him there were Jews, so he was like, no, I'm going back to sleep.
God damn.
He peaced out.
I would not be surprised if Disney's like funding Nazi research for clones.
No, I don't think Disney is anymore.
You never know, man. They got to be like, listen, I know shares are up right now, but I think we got to bring.
We were talking about EA.
We got to bring.
And now we're talking about.
So EA, like, I think Disney really applied the boot to the throat.
Yeah. Because Disney was definitely unhappy about it, because one thing that they're really afraid of is Disney spent a lot of money on this license for Star Wars to revive it, so they have to make all their money back.
Well, they already have.
Well,
they have.
They spent $4 billion.
They've made 5.6 in box office.
I don't think
$5.6 billion in box office revenue. Now that is including ticket sales to The Last Jedi that are already made.
Oh, okay.
But $5.6 billion in box office revenue.
But that was one big thing behind Disney sort of going at EA and making sure that a lot of this was fixed, because they were really afraid that it was going to harm ticket sales, and understandably so. I don't think it would for the general population, but the casual Star Wars viewer, it may have made something of a difference.
I mean, it makes me not want to buy anything from EA ever again, and it makes me worry about Anthem, a game that BioWare is making. And BioWare is a studio that's really, really good at doing different things. Like Jade Empire was fan-fucking-tastic. If you've never played Jade Empire, it is actually a game. Visually, it does not age well, but mechanically, it ages amazingly well. So go play Jade Empire, because it's a fucking good game. And then Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 of our favorite games. And then there was the fucking hideous Star Wars Old Republic MMO.
I don't think it was hideous.
Dude, here's why it's hideous to me. I bought the Founders Edition, the like $120 edition. I was like, fuck yeah, a Star Wars MMO based in the Old Republic, made by BioWare. This game is gonna be so fucking lit. And like 3 months after the game came out, they went free to play because sales were so bad. Reviews were so bad. They had lost like 90% of their subscriber base in a 3-month period. So here I was, I bought the game for $120. I'd already prepaid for like 6 months of subscription time before the game came out, because I was so fucking on board with it. I got a title that says Founder on it.
Yep.
That's all I fucking got. I got nothing. Jack shit. Suck my dick, said BioWare. Fuck you, give us more money. Who cares? Actually, no, it's probably EA is what happened. But nobody gives a shit about you.
Brandon brought up a really good point.
I gotta be a Jedi with a porn stash and have sexy times with the lady. Yeah, it was such a bad game, and the numbers went to shit so fast. And then after the numbers went to shit, the current people that were playing the game, they're like, hey guys, go fuck yourself. We're going free to play. You don't get anything. And it's just like, it's such a kick in the dick. And it was like, I wanted to love this game because it was Star Wars. The combat was shitty. I could handle that. I still wanted to love this game for the stories. Then you fuck me over with all this stuff. So, and I think that was purely a product of EA trying to monetize that MMO.
It definitely was. And it's, they went free to play, but it's gotten worse. For one, you can straight up only have 2 characters in free to play. Unless you're a preferred member. And you get preferred member by spending money in their cartel coins.
Yeah, or the subscription.
Yeah, or you subscribe and stick with it that way. But yeah, like, I don't know, it's just, there were so many tiny little problems with it. And then one thing is, they tried to turn it into a story-driven MMO, and that's fine, but one thing you have to always remember with MMOs is that even if it's story-driven, it has to have end-game content to it. No matter how great the story is, people only want to level, and nobody wants to level.
Well, it does have in-game content to it.
But it's bad.
It's bad in-game content. The raids weren't all that good, like mechanics-wise, content-wise. They were.
It was also
bad.
rushed because the raids were not completable in the first 2 weeks.
Well, and not only that, but the game had already taken like 4 or 5 years to make, I think.
Yeah.
And it was like a $200 million sink for EA into this. Like, they thought they had winner chicken dinner. And if I look at Bungie and I look at Destiny, actually, no, that's a seriously bad, because Destiny does not scream $500 million to me either right now. Destiny, I take that back. Destiny 1 says about $150 million to me. Destiny 1 does, because Destiny 1, towards the end of its lifespan, was a great game.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny 2 says like a nickel and some pocket change, maybe 5 cents for your grandmother on the street because you're so fucking poor. But Star Wars Old Republic does not say $200 million to me. It doesn't even say $100 million. It says like maybe 25 million. Like, seriously, maybe 25 million.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder, like, where all their issues were. I'd wager that with, like, such a long development span, there's probably a lot of back and forth, especially with, because EA obviously had a really heavy hand in it, and they definitely wanted to try to monetize it to keep people playing in a way, and there's just so many parts that, like, it's trying to drag you in, but it tries to do it in so many different ways that it just doesn't work. Because I found one problem that I had was where none of the stories coincided. I felt like I had to play all of the different classes.
Yeah, and
which would have been fine if the leveling didn't take as long as it did.
It took me 2 weeks to hit level 47 on my Sith Inquisitor. And by the way, early game Sith Inquisitors, even if you were leveled out correctly, had a really hard time actually completing their story because it was just so goddamn hard. Like, it got to a point that I could not complete my story.
There was a lot of imbalance in that, I remember.
And I had to go back at a later date after they changed it to finish my story because it was just so fucking hard.
I remember there was a huge outcry by the Jedi Knights because they had to fight their final boss was like, there's spoilers. I'll give you a couple of seconds to mute it and hold for a second.
Nobody cares about spoilers of this game.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just trying to be polite. Anyway,
are we polite?
No.
Okay.
They have to kill the Emperor, and he's a champion, which is basically it's like a end of dungeon boss, something like that. Supposed to be really hard to solo.
Right.
Well, every other class gets to take whatever they companion they want to their end. And they all have to fight a big boss like that, but they all get to take healers. Jedi Knights have to take their droid that they get at the beginning, which is a tank. So if they can't kill it fast enough, which if they were tank spec, they could not do it.
The fight was a pita.
Yeah.
Which Brandon also brought up the point, Hutball. Hutball was so much fun.
Yeah, it was.
And I don't understand, like, people actively talked about how fun Hutball was. And if they had just been like, okay, here are your separate queues. Here's Hutball in a PvP queue only. Hutball 24/7. Here's some new Hutball arenas with new Hutball mechanics. Let's make active carrying and passing more interesting. Killing someone doesn't necessarily transfer, but tosses the Hutball back up for, like, so many things they could have done with Hutball and continued to iterate on it. And they were just like, we kind of like want people to do more regular PV. It's like, fuck you, man. Fuck you. This is what so many companies do wrong in the first place when they're developing a game. One, and this is something I learned from watching a lot of Bungie. When you develop a game, develop it for yourself. If you play it and you love it and that game is fun, obviously put it through all the rigorous QA testing, balancing testing, all that good stuff. But if you and your development team love that game and play that game and it's fun, you more than likely have a fucking ringer on your hand. Lore was talking about how Devil Lore, he works for Blizzard, Josh Allen. I remember him talking about that basically before Overwatch came out, when it was in closed beta, everybody in the Blizzard office had it. Everybody in the Blizzard office had it. And so they actually had to do like a productivity thing because people were spending all their time playing Overwatch. Like, they would spend their 15, 20-minute breaks playing Overwatch. Their lunch breaks playing Overwatch. They'd have to make sure people ate because they were playing Overwatch. In a fucking Blizzard office. So when a company, and Overwatch is massively successful. I personally don't care that much for Overwatch, but Overwatch has a esports league, OWL, Overwatch League, that's looking at $20 million investments.
Yeah, there's that, and it's also, like, they're gonna get professional teams like we see in the NBA and stuff like that, like, legitimate clubs being made out of it that will compete on a world stage.
So obviously, everybody that was making the game loved the game and had fun with the game. You know you're onto something. Some of these games that come out, I feel like, did you guys actually play your game? Like, did you sit down and did you play your game for like 40, 50 hours? Like, did you play your game? Because it does not feel like you played your game. It feels like you had QA run, yeah, that feels good. No, this feels good. Yep, okay, works. Like, it works is not a go sign for developmental. Like, yeah, just print it and ship it. Like, it has to be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
And ironically enough, we're going to circle all the way back around to EA and Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 is fun.
It is a lot. I mean, like, I personally haven't had the opportunity to play it. But I've watched gameplay of it, and generally, if I can sit down and I can watch gameplay and enjoy watching gameplay, there's a really high likelihood that I'm going to love playing the game. And the gameplay looks incredible. It looks highly varied.
Well,
it looks gorgeous.
You're looking at a Star Wars movie the whole time.
Yeah, like, it looks like it's just fantastic overall.
And the thing is Battlefront 2 is seriously fun. Is it still missing some key things that I think it should have, like galactic conquest? Yeah. Space to Earth battle, or space to ground battles? Yeah. It's like, listen, it's 2017. They're building Star Citizen, and it's a galactic universe in which you actually travel using this quantum teleportation bullshit, and they're able to render fully procedurally generated cities. I think you're a bitch ass can do ground to space battles, EA.
Yeah.
Get with the program.
They're definitely not pushing the boundaries like they should be. And I feel like that is one large part, because a lot of people talk about how the gaming industry is slowly becoming stale.
It is.
And I think that's one big thing, because if you look back to the gaming industry and like its real big growth and development and how it's never stopped growing, it's because people are always pushing the boundaries.
It was in the late 90s, the early 2000s, where we had this huge amount of growth in terms of creativity in games, because just like you said, they weren't $200 million investments. They were like $10 million. It was like Microsoft starting up Xbox in 2000. 2004? 2003?
It was earlier than that, I think.
What year did the original Xbox come out? $2001. And then Halo CE release date. Was that 2001 as well?
It was not launched with it. It was 2001. It wasn't launched with it because it came out in March.
It was really, yeah. It was really,
Xbox
really,
came out in March,
it was
but
really,
it was
really
close. Yeah.
It was, but during that time period, game developers were pushing the boundary more than anything, which is why I'm excited for games like Destiny and like Anthem, because they are doing something no other video game has ever done. Bungie's just doing it very poorly right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I made this new cake, but I pissed in the cake, so it's kind of off. But if you, like, ignore the piss taste, it's actually not a bad cake. I would try it again, just with less piss.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of parts in Destiny where they can currently clean it up and make it much better.
Quality of life changes.
Yeah, and hopefully, the next expansion coming out will be able to do a lot of that and help sort of fix those issues.
15 days.
We'll have to see. I mean,
15 motherfucking days. Which you don't have the expansions though, do you?
For Destiny 2?
Mm-mm.
No,
Yeah.
not yet. I mean, I'm fine. I got that.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. 15 days, and we will have some. Actually, we're gonna get some answers tomorrow. Wait, no. Today's Monday. Well, now it's technically Tuesday, but today's Monday.
Doesn't count.
Tuesday. So Wednesday, we're gonna get another stream from Bungie where they're gonna detail more things. They really need they really, really, really need to give us some answers about quality of life improvements, because currently they're so bad. They don't value the player's time that they put into it, and it's really frustrating. It's like, why am I grinding all this if I just get tokens and I get RNG? Like, Better Devils is a top tier PvP hand cannon that took me 120 matches to get.
I don't even have it.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I've got 2 maxed out characters on there, and I just don't feel like I have anything to show for it.
Yeah, I've got 2.5. My Warlock or my Hunter and Titan are 305. My Warlock's 304. And I don't feel like I have anything to show for it either. I could not see the difference between somebody that is 205 and somebody that is 305.
Yeah, no.
I can't see the difference.
The first week, whenever we started playing, and I was like the highest light level on the Citadel, it felt great. And then like the second week, when I was still the highest light level on the Citadel, and I was looking around, I just felt hollow. Like I just didn't feel like.
And I think that's something Destiny 1 did a lot. If you go back and you look at, we talked about this before. You look at the Year of Triumph raid armor that they did for Destiny 1, and you saw somebody had Triumph armor from one of the raids, and they had the full set, and they had the full ornaments. That person, you looked at them and you went, fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You knew that person was in that raid all the time. You knew that person had grinded their ass off to get those ornaments, to get that full armor set the way it was, and to get it to max light. He looked fucking dope.
Yep.
You don't have that. You don't have that anymore. And it's so shitty. Yeah, like they're saying, I may not pick up Destiny until next year. I couldn't blame I could not comfortably tell somebody you should pick up Destiny 2 right now. Because I don't know that Curse of Osiris is actually going to change anything. I don't think it will either, honestly. I don't think we're going to get these quality of life improvements until the next expansion, which is March of 2018. And at that point, we're like 2-3 months away from E3. Anthem is supposed to come out in 2018. EA is going to be knocking on the door with Anthem. I hope to God Anthem is fucking great. I hope to God Anthem is a slam dunk for EA and BioWare. I hope they really rein back the microtransactions really hard.
Honestly, I do have one positive thing to say about Destiny 2. Their microtransactions are, I would say a little bit more, I would say their microtransactions are pretty good.
Are they though?
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. They're still, in a sense, gambling. Because you can't guarantee anything that you're going to get. But you can still get a 160 speeder without ever doing any of that. I've got like 3.
True.
So like that's the only gameplay thing that really heavily can be affected, and that's
True.
not even all that heavy.
So, but okay, here's where they become unfair. Because they've done a bunch of research on this. This is going to blow your mind. So Clarion Call happened. Clarion Call was supposed to give you double XP if you're doing anything with a clanmate this weekend. I don't know how long it lasts. I don't really care. It wasn't worth it. There's a cooldown on XP that you earn past level 20.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, you can only earn so many bright engrams in a certain amount of time. It's literally time gated. It's how long you play, not how much you play. So if I farm a bunch of public events with double or triple XP, my rested XP at the start of the week, with Fireteam medallions on to double that XP, well, it's 50% of that, to get 50% more of that, I will hit a cooldown barrier. I won't be able to gain any more XP in that allotted hour. They purposely gate how much XP you can earn. So when they gate how much XP you can earn, they gate how much bright engrams you can earn. Now this is where the system gets fucky. They also cap you out on Glimmer. Why do they cap you out on Glimmer? But they don't cap you on legendary shards. Somebody's already proven this. You can have more legendary shards than you can Glimmer. Okay? Legendary shards are a lot harder to get, and they're used to level up gear. And they're used to, no, that's it. They're used to level up gear. Infuse stuff. That's about it. Yeah. Okay?
Because I did notice, I have a huge surplus of legendary shards.
So, it's really, really easy to get legendary shards and not spend them because there's nothing to spend them on. They don't cap you on that. They cap you on Glimmer because Glimmer is used to buy blue mods. Blue mods turn into purple mods. or you can use them to paint ships, you use them to paint your armor, your weapons, all that stuff. You also take that glimmer and you can buy blue mods from the gunsmith, which you can then turn into purple mods. Instead, you can also get bright engrams, or you get blue mods from bright engrams. The economy is balanced, and this is Activision's bullshit. See, Activision is the smart kind of asshole. EA is just a fucking asshole.
Outright.
Yeah, EA is just a fucking asshole. Activision's a smart asshole, okay? So they cap you out on the EXP so you can't earn bright engrams. They cap you out on Glimmer so you can't buy blue mods. They give you blue mods and bright engrams. So they keep you from earning bright engrams and they keep you from buying blue mods. This is all gated towards shifting you over to, well, maybe I can buy like a few bright engrams to get some of those blue mods that I need. And those blue mods will give me my 305 that I finally want. I can get that purple slot, right? And I won't have to spend the Glimmer, so I'll have the Glimmer, the 5,000 Glimmer, to put it in there. It's all just slightly geared to make you buy bright engrams.
And, well, yeah, and like that's true. Because that makes a lot of sense. But one thing you have to ask yourself is that acceptable? Is it okay for them to add a little bit of pain to push you towards microtransactions instead of what EA did, which I think it was some crazy number to get one of the larger heroes.
So it was originally 40 hours to get a hero that was like, I forget the price tag.
60,000?
Yeah, 60,000 credits, but it was 40 hours. They cut it by 75%, which means they cut the time by 75%. So 10 hours, right? Not exactly.
Because they also affected the rate that you got credits, correct?
Well, no, they didn't affect the rate that you got credits, but they changed all the rewards that you got from your starting achievements. So they affected how many credits you got out of campaign. You used to get 20,000, you only got 5,000. Now, why would they give you credits? Originally, it was to unlock Edian Versio, the person you play throughout the campaign. Well, they changed it to 5,000 credits. Why would they not just give you Iden Versio for beating the campaign if they're going to give you the credit amount? It's because you'll spend the credits somewhere else. You'll spend the credits trying to unlock another character like Darth Vader or Palpatine. You'll spend the credits buying loot boxes, and you still won't have Edian Versio. That's why they give you the 5,000 credits.
Yeah.
It's so, instead of giving Edian Versio to you and taking the 5,000 credits out of the equation, they give you the 5,000 credits in hopes that people make the mistake of buying loot crates with it instead and not a hero. And then that way, you're more geared towards buying their progression, basically. But I would still say Destiny's not okay with the bright engrams because, listen, if their cosmetics were straight up, hey, here's an exotic sparrow, $10. Each exotic sparrow is $10. Buy all three and they're $25. I'd have paid $25 fucking dollars. Yeah. Hey, you want a pack of shaders? I'll give you 10 of this shader for $1.99. I'll give you 10 of this shader for $1.99. I'll give you 50 of one shader for $3.99. I'll give you 100 of one shader for $4.99. Fuck, dude. I'd have spent like $5, $5, $5, $5, $5, $25 on sparrows. You want that exotic ship? $9.99. Another $10. Bungie would have had me easy for fucking 70, 80 bucks, all fucking ready. If they'd have made their microtransactions buy exactly what you want. So they would have gotten $60 out of me for the initial game, $40 for the season pass, and another probably $80 on top of that, and I would have all the exotic sparrows, all the exotic ships, and all the shaders that I wanted. Bungie would have made $180 off me in season 1.
That's the thing that confuses me. Like, why don't they?
Oh yeah, don't forget emotes. Okay, make it $100.
He's got
$200 fucking dollars, Bungie. You'd have made $200 off of me in season 1. Season 2, you're gonna add more emotes, more exotic shaders, or more shaders, more exotic ships, more exotic sparrows. That's another $50, $60 from me, Bungie. I'm a fucking whale. Front $250, season 2, easy. Instead, I've spent $20 on bright engrams, and I'm not spending any more on that gambling whore tests.
That's the thing that confuses me. Like, I don't understand why games don't have a direct buy sort of system. Um, like, what is the point of not allowing someone to buy exactly what they want, but also giving them the opportunity to gamble? Some people may just really enjoy gambling, so they want to spend $100 on the Bright Ingrams.
Yeah, why not give both options? Because there are the dumbasses that are going to spend $30, $40, $50 on fucking Bright Engrams, and they're never going to get what they want, and they're going to be like, well, I could spend 5 more, and I could get what I want, and what I want costs $9.99, you know? But, like, yeah, and Exotic Ghosts, which they're bringing, I'm pretty sure they're probably going to bring them in Curse of Osiris. They would be dumb not to. So, fuck, Bungie. $300, Season 1. Fuck you. Like, seriously, it's such a dumb decision to not do that. I don't understand.
Yeah, no, the microtransaction system, like, in all honesty, they're banking on stupid people with a lot of money.
Yeah, and it's like, listen, if you just let me buy exactly what I want, Bungie, I want everything. I would have bought everything by now. And excuse me. Somebody was talking about this. Somebody was talking about this earlier. I like Destiny. I like parts of Destiny. I like this about Destiny. I like that about Destiny. I don't love anything about Destiny. There's nothing I love about Destiny. And I was like, dude, I don't love anything about Destiny. I like parts of Destiny. I do not love Destiny in any way. I love Destiny 1. Some of the things in Destiny 1 I fucking loved, dude. Like King's Fall Raid, loved it. Some of the Iron Banner came around. The PvP was terrible. It was laggy as shit or whatever, but Iron Banner felt like, fuck yeah, power levels matter, getting in there, kicking everybody's ass, right? I loved that. Some of my weapons, the fucking, there's nothing I love. There's no exotics that I love, no legendaries that I love in Destiny 2. There was stuff I loved in Destiny 1. There's nothing that I love.
Yeah, and one thing behind that kind of speaks to me of is
yeah, Vault of Glass.
Yeah,
everybody loved Vault of Glass.
One thing that kind of speaks to me of is the reason why you fall in love with games and things like that is because it's a totally new and different experience, and it makes you feel in some kind of way that you haven't felt with the game before. Like it's like, wow, I feel this is incredible. I'm just so happy in this. I love it. I've never been here before. Yeah. And then what they've done with Destiny 2, and you see it in a lot of games today, is they take the old system and they say, well, it worked. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. And then they don't do anything to it.
That's not what Bungie did. They tried to fix something that was working.
They changed a lot of positive parts.
They did. Well, the loot system, the token system for one. Why? We were happy buying. Did anybody ever complain, man, I don't like buying these static rolled items from vendors? Did anybody complain, man, I hate random weapon rolls, random armor rolls on random stats? I hate that so much. Anybody ever complain about that shit? Maybe like 2 people on a Sunday evening when they're bored as shit and they're trying to think about something to hate because their existential life crisis has run out of steam. But no, nobody was ever like, I hate this shit and I hate vendors in Destiny. I hate random. A lot of the shit they did there was for convenience and for ease of use for them. It was hard for them to balance random weapon rolls. Fuck you, Bungie. You're the creator. It's not supposed to be easy for you. You don't make it easy on yourself and affect the player. That's fucked up. If you want to give the player a good experience, it's not easy, fuckface. Like, that just, I don't want to, that makes me so angry,
but, like,
though.
honestly, that's like development 101. You don't put in a little bit of effort for yourself and then expect it to be great for them. Like, you have to work hard for your magic. It's art. It's not just something that happens.
Yeah, and that was like the thing that bothered me so much was like, well, we're making it easier to balance on ourselves. That doesn't mean the game's better. As a matter of fact, I feel like my classes have been neutered in Destiny 1. I feel like they have less uniqueness to them. Like, the fucking Sentinel is so bland. He just throws a shield and he bashes, and he can do Ward of Dawn. Like, the classes feel neutered to me.
Arc Strider is just like, now you get to be Blade Dancer, but with a pole.
Yeah, right, exactly. Hunters turned into strippers. Warlocks can kill people around corners.
Also, like, listen, okay, I am a Hunter fan. I played a Hunter in Destiny 1. I played a Hunter at the start in Destiny 2. I've now swapped over to a Warlock as my main because the only good thing about the Hunter is Arc Strider is broken in PvP. Nothing else good
It's
about
broken
it.
in with Radiant Flux.
Yeah.
And with Orpheus Rig, Shadow Shot is infinite in PvE. Those are the only two good things that come out of Hunter. There's no good, Insurmountable Skullfort is the only good exotic in my opinion. Good exotic in my opinion for Titans, but it's only good in PvE. It's not that good in PvP because infinite pulse grenades. Winter's Guile is good for Warlocks in PvE, not PvP. They neutered some of the exotics were great for PvP. Oh man, like some of the exotics just wrecked face in PvP. Like Black Spindle, dude, because every precision hit, it automatically reloaded from reserves. So if you were on fire with your sniper, dude, boom, 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 3 headshots, reloaded. Don't even have to scope out. Boom, 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 another 3 kills. I got a 7th column right now. I still ain't reloaded. Like, there ain't none of that. None of that shit in D2.
And one thing that I kind of noticed was they tried to tone down a lot of the class supers for balance sake.
Mm-hmm.
But all they did was change it, once again, for balance sake. I use air quotes there, you guys can't use it. But see, the issue is, all of the supers are still busted as fuck in PvP. I remember once, I popped my Arc Strider, was running towards 3 people. They were all shooting at me and shitting their pants. I left-clicked one time in their general direction, killed all 3 of them.
Yep.
And like, I'm sorry, I didn't deserve that. I used no skill there. I literally held W and left-clicked. That's all I did.
And that's the thing that I bring back around whenever supers come up in PvP and Destiny. You can't balance supers for PvP. So stop trying to do it. Balance supers for PvE. Give us a mode in PvP that doesn't have supers.
Yeah.
Because what Destiny has become, especially in Trials, it becomes about rotation of supers. How many kills can you get with supers? During Countdown, we would try to spare out our supers, make them waste their supers, dodge them, get out of the way of them, and then hit with our supers to win rounds, sustain rounds, and continue to beat them at the game. They would be so much better shots than we were. They would nail their grenades, nail their headshots. Did not matter because we played the super game, and we would win matches we had no fucking right winning, where these players outskilled us massively. We were just more intelligent about our super use than they were. And it's like, well, your game's a first-person shooter. How does somebody that completely outskills me in a first-person shooter lose consistently to the player that just manages their super better? That's not balanced. That's broken as fuck.
It's supposed to be about gunplay, not Palpatine and using the Force.
Who did Disney buy Activision or EA? I forget.
I don't know. I don't keep track of publishers anymore. They're just all kind of assholes at this point.
No, dude. You know what 2K actually said in a recent statement?
What?
All games moving forward will have microtransactions.
And they should all go free to play.
Damn, son.
That's my philosophy. If you're gonna have microtransactions, make the game free.
Damn.
If I'm giving you $60 fucking, I should not be locked behind anything on a goddamn paywall.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was the big problem with Battlefront 2, was the fact that I paid $60 and you wanted me to pay another $2,000. Like, that literally just, like, thinking of that statement just made me laugh.
No,
because it's like, you want me to pay another $2,000.
And, like, here's the part that boggles me. Like,
I don't have $2,000 in my bank account.
Small microtransactions, like, I'm not a fan of them. But they're not that terrible. I remember, I was reading through, and IGN released an article. They had to spend $200 to get enough credits to buy Darth Vader. That was just to buy Darth Vader. that did not include also getting all the cards and things like that for him. Because it's great to have Darth Vader, but if you don't have any of the cards on him to power him up, he's still going to get his ass beat by the cheaper heroes.
Speaking about real money in games, because there are interesting games that tackle this, like Eve with ISK, which I don't actually play Eve, so I have no idea how it does it. But, you know, in the last couple of years, World of Warcraft introduced tokens, right? And tokens can be turned into gold, and gold can be used to buy PoE or bind on pickup, so BOP gear. No, it's bind on equip. BO, I was right the first time. BOE gear. So that can be used to buy BOE gear off the auction house. So you can get geared pretty easily by spending money in World of Warcraft. Just buy every single BOE piece that pops up on the auction house, and especially during fresh raid season, or when a lot of guilds are in rotation of something, there's a ton of BOEs that guilds sell to bank that gold up, man. And I'm sure some guilds, just off BOEs, probably fucking pay for, like, their 10-man primary raid groups monthly subscription at this point, which is not a bad thing. But we were talking about gear scores at one point in guilds, and how, what is it, 890 now? Is about
item level. No, to do, like, a lot of the raids now, like, anything below 920, they won't accept it.
So, I played a lot. We dabbled in World of Warcraft during Classic. We never played hardcore. I started playing a lot more hardcore during BC. Logan still dabbled, but he dabbled a lot more heavily in BC. Mm-hmm. And then Logan started playing really hardcore during Wrath. And we were both playing at the time. Then Kata came around. And I kind of dropped out at Cat. I think you were still playing.
I was still playing. Cataclysm actually was my peak because I was in a heroic progression guild and we were competing for server first.
And see, I was competing for server first during Wrath on U-Trig with Sandbox. And then, did you play Pandaria?
No.
Neither one of us did. I think we saw pandas and we were like, that's stupid, I'm out.
Yeah.
Pandaria was... I know some people love Pandaria.
We'll have to talk about the shit show that the monk was. Because honestly, I'm really sad. Have you played a monk?
I have a Mistweaver.
It's fun.
It is.
It's super fun. It honestly is. It is one of the classes that I have enjoyed the most. Mm-hmm. But it is also consistently, even in this last expansion with Demon Hunter being brand new, it is consistently the lowest played class by percentage.
Yep. Well, and they were broken as balls during the launch of Pandaria.
Yeah, and no one played them. Just because, like, quite literally, what happened was they showed pandas, and then everybody face-palmed, and then monks went by, and nobody saw it because their head was still in their head was still down in their palm.
So nobody knows monks exist.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, and then like people get on, they're like, "Wow, what's that weird thing that's made the character list longer?" I'm not gonna check it out. I'm too fucking lazy to. I mean, like, you got a bunch of keyboard warriors playing World of Warcraft. The fuck do you expect?
10 million subscribers, 8 million keyboard warriors. Jesus. No, yeah, it's,
I'm gonna be honest, I stole the fuck out of that facepalm joke. We'll talk about that later. Go on.
Yeah, it's just, fuck. So, whenever we were, I was leading progression on Heroic ICC. And during that time, if somebody had a low gear score, like, I forget what the gear score was at the time for ICC.
5,000.
5,000 or 500?
5,000.
Oh, they redid the gear score.
Gear score, well, because, like, what we have now is item level.
Yeah.
What they had back then was gear score, and, like, random pieces of gear would have, like, well, this is worth 347.
I forgot. Well, and
reasons.
That partially happened because they did the whole number squeeze. Because, like, a gear score in, not Legion, Warlords of Draenor was getting to the 10,000s. And then they did the whole number shrink in Warlords of Draenor,
they
and
swapped
they went to
over,
item level instead.
They swapped over to item level in Cataclysm.
Okay.
Because, like, people just kind of, I guess they just kind of quit using gear score. But yeah.
So, yeah, but, like, during ICC, if somebody wasn't geared, but they were good at the class that they played, which, this happened even back in ICC, and I imagine this happens terribly so in today's World of Warcraft, which I don't play anymore. He still does some though. But even back in ICC, people paid gold for runs of regular ICC, Naxxramas, stuff like that all the time. They paid for runs. This person was shit at the game. They had no idea about their class, no idea about the rotation. They did not know. They didn't even know what their fucking racial was. And they didn't have trinket. When do my trinkets proc? Oh, I have to use them. They're not on my hotbar. They didn't fucking know. And these people were more geared than I was because they had money.
Do you know how much Mythic Kill Jaden kill costs?
Oh god.
Like to get carried into
USD or gold?
Gold.
200,000.
Oh, you're way low.
Okay. Really?
Really?
God, because 200,000 is about what I think tokens are going for, like 180k right now. So that's like
it's 169k last time.
Okay, so that's like a cost of a token, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's $20, right? Is it 20 or 15?
It's $15.
Okay,
a token,
so
I think.
15.
Or maybe it is 20. I don't know. It's one of the two.
So, but anyway, that's like a cost of a token. Okay, let me just throw out 1.2 million.
Higher.
You're fucking me.
Nope. 100% serious right now.
I'm
talking on Storm Rage.
Okay, well, I mean, statistically it's going to vary probably by like 20 to 30%, but it's going to be an average close. Okay, higher than 1.2 million fucking gold. Are you serious? Hang on.
You gonna pull a calculator?
I'm going to pull out a calculator on this bitch. So how much, let me see. How much does a WoW token cost? 20 USD.
$20.
Okay. So, and they're going for 169k right now in Storm Rage, okay? And it's more than $1.2 million right now, okay? $1.2 million. No, it's more than 1.2 million. 169.
You multiply. You hit the.
Okay, yeah. So 120,000 divided by 169,000. 7.1 tokens, and that's gonna be $142 for 1.2 million. More than that?
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus. There's no way. There's no way. Oh, that's the amount of gold.
You want me just to tell you?
Is it more than 2 million?
Yeah.
3 million?
Yeah, no, it's 3 million.
It's 3 million?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Holy shit! Dude! That's fucking $355! What?
3 million gold.
Fuck day jobs, I'm gonna go play WoW! I'm still good at raiding, bitch! Where my team at? I can do fucking Mythic Kill Jaden.
It's fucking bad, dude.
Oh my god! 355 motherfucking dollars! Alright, so rich assholes can buy their gear score. And people that farm their nuts off. But, God! So yeah, the whole point we were talking about was the stigma around gear score. You're either insanely rich, or even if you're insanely... So this is the point we were talking about. Logan's good at WoW. He knows his rotations, he knows what soaking is. If you don't know what soaking is in World of Warcraft, you probably don't know raid terms in general, which means you probably shouldn't be on a raid team. If you don't know the phrase, don't stand in the fire, you probably shouldn't be on a raid team. If you don't know what LOSing means, you probably shouldn't be on a raid team. Those are just like standard things. And I guarantee you people don't know that shit. But your gear score currently is like what, 890 something?
Actually, I got it up to 907.
907, and people will still not take your rating.
People will not take me rating.
Do you know the mechanics of the fight?
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched YouTube videos?
Yep.
Can you describe the fights to him in depth?
Yep.
Each phase?
Yep.
Each position?
Yep.
DPS, tank, and healer?
I literally, so, I went into, LFR recently, and LFR it's not real rating. Let's be honest here. It's not real rating. But there were still people dying. I remember, I was 907. There was another rogue, like 3 spots below me. He was playing subtlety as well. Okay? I inspected him. His item level was 924. But I was still doing better DPS than him. Okay? I remember I was trying to do some Mythic Plus runs. I applied. Item level 907. I got declined. Alright? I messaged the guy being like, what the fuck? Because he had his name listed for some reason. Most people don't do that. But I messaged him. I was like, why did you decline me? I'm 907. I'm more than geared for it. Because it was just a Mythic 5.
Right.
Which I tanked.
Yeah.
At 890 on my warrior.
Yeah, so you're plenty of geared for it.
So, like, DPS wise, I'm definitely. And he's like, 907's not high enough. I want like 920. By the way, 920 people are clearing like Mythic 13 and still not getting upgrades. And
then
he's
why
like,
would you waste your time on a Mythic 5?
Exactly. And he's like, no, I want 920. What he's wanting is, and I could tell, I didn't get a chance to inspect him, unfortunately, because I had no idea where he was. But what I could tell was going on was, he was probably lower geared. I'd say he was probably like 880, 890, something like that. Got a Mythic 5 key, and then he wanted to get carried through it.
He wanted carried.
And, like, it's ridiculous. It's idiotic.
Nah, well, and so here's the other thing that I don't understand. Raid content is designed in such a way that you go in technically undergeared, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll, like, let's say a raid is, and it's the same way with Destiny. Let's say a raid, well, actually, no, Destiny, we're not talking about Destiny anymore. We've beaten that fucking dead horse so much it started neighing.
Fuck that game.
But raid content is designed that, let's say a raid's gear score, a normal raid, you'll come out with 890 gear, okay? I'm just making this bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably 870, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, let's say the raid gives you 870 gear. You can't get 870 gear anywhere else at the time when the raid comes out.
Mm-hmm.
It's made so that you can go in and beat it under geared technically at like 865, 860, 855, and walk out at 870. It's made so you go in with less gear and come out with more. So when people are over-geared than the drops and they're just trying to bump their average up a little bit more, why in the fuck would you not take them? And so Mike has been, aka Mike B, he's been playing a lot of WoW again and leveling a character, and he's really got me wanting to resub. And you've got me really wanting to resub, talking about raids and shit like that. Like, dude, because I used to run Sandbox when True Friend left. Well, it was when True Friend gave the guild over to the French Connection dude, Azimuth. I fucking hate that dude. Guns' story time about Etrig and the woes of Sandbox. So I was on a server called Etrig, way back in BC and Rathod Lich King days. Etrig, Sandbox was the biggest guild on the server. I think we were one of the biggest guilds. We were in like top 10 guild size. Back in BC and Wrath, the guild page stopped at 500 members, and it did not go past 500 members. So we actually had to start limiting ourselves at 500. We went through a point where we kicked a bunch of people out because we could not see any more people on the list. That got fixed eventually, but you couldn't see more than 500. And we didn't have like somebody had 3 alts and everybody. No, we had like 500 unique accounts. We made a second guild for our alts, and that had some 400 members in it too. We were a absolutely massive guild. The leader was True Friend, who was an opera singer. I don't know if you remember that or not.
I don't remember that. I remember talking to True Friend, but
do you remember Clink and Clam?
I remember
Clank and Balls.
Yeah,
they were wife and husband, Clink and Clam, Clank and Balls. But yeah, those two. Brutus was on there. So anyway, he left. And he gave it to the French-Canadian guy because he was focusing more on his career, Azimuth. Azimuth was getting a bunch of heat from a lot of the guildies because Azimuth started to be a dick about gear score. and about raids. And he wanted progression rating at the highest level gear score. You couldn't get in. And the thing was, most people actually couldn't go raiding. Like the normal raid teams that were already, like people already had their set raid teams, and he was breaking these raid teams up and saying, I want you because you're the best DPS, and I want you because you're the best tank out of these. And he would like put his own little fucking raid together. And nobody got to raid anymore because of him. Because we split our groups in skill level pretty easily. It's like, hey, we'll put a bunch of really good DPS with an okay tank, so that he doesn't need to be a good tank, because they burn him down really fast, right?
Yeah.
Spank and tank, that's all you gotta do. Tank and spank and tank, whatever. And they were like, or we'll put really good healers with really shitty tanks and okay DPS, so they have a lot of, we would do stuff like that, so everybody could get through raiding. And we had 3 groups that we put together that were some of our best people that wanted to do progression rating, that wanted to hit it day one as hard as they can, and he started breaking all those up. And people got pissed at him about how he's fracturing the guild, and he's taking out, and like, we're 500 people in a guild. You can't be doing this to people. This is not about you, and he wanted it to be about him. We had, and this was Wrath, okay? 1 million gold in Wrath was a lot of fucking gold.
Yeah, that was a lot of gold at the time.
Okay? Our guild bank had something like 2.5 million. We were fucking stacked, dude. We were loaded. Him, his wife, and all the French Canadian guys, because they were in Canada, took all that money, 2.5 million, and cleared the fucking guild bank out. Put it on all their alts, all their characters, transferred to a new server. And then everyone else was just like, they were kind of like, whatever, we can't do anything. They were accepting. I was throwing a fucking fit about this, because I was like, sick. When did Wrath come out?
You need to start memorizing these dates when we're talking about this shit.
Wrath of Lich King. Or, yeah.
Oh,
2008. So I was 15, 16 at the time. Yeah, I was throwing a bitch fit about this. 15, 16-year-old me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, what are you fucking, so you're gonna take all this shit from everybody, you're not gonna tell them why, and you're gonna leave because you don't wanna fracture the guild. You're getting so much, like, I was just fucking hounding him in whispers and then in guild chat, and I got demoted to member and silenced. And then finally he's like, well, if you want to talk so much, you can have the fucking guild. So he gave a 15-year-old kid leadership of a 500-member guild. Those were fun.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. Those 2 weeks were hell. So me being 15-year-old me, I was a stubborn little shit. And I was like, no, I can do it. I can do it. I mean, we got through it, and I eventually left the guild shortly after Kata, about 3 months after Kata came out, because I was just like, I'm like 17, 18, guys. I'm just getting out of high school. Like, I got college. I can't anymore. I didn't want to WoW anymore. And we got through it, but fuck, dude. Fuck. And revolving all the way back around to the story was that whenever I was building groups, I built groups based on skill. I didn't care if you were under-geared. I would take somebody and I would gear them. And the reason why I would invite people to the guild that were under-geared, but these people knew what they were doing. I would go through dungeons with him, and he had really good rotations, and he was really up there on DPS. Or this dude was a tank, and when I say he was a tank, he was like, healer, don't stop till I say bitch, and he kept going. Like, those kinds of tanks, man. I love those kinds of tanks.
You get shit done.
Yeah, right? It's like, bitch, we go until you say you better say yeah. I would invite people like that had lower gear score, and then I'd take them through regular raids and heroic raid, and I would get them geared. And I would get them geared and continue to do stuff with them. And the thing was, that did 2 things. One, that gave me a bunch of people that were fucking geared. That I could be like, hey, who wants to raid? Everybody's like fucking crazy ass geared out. Cool. We had 2 people that had Shadowmourne in the guild. I think 2 of our paladins, our rep pallies did.
Why'd you put Shadowmourne on Rep Pallies?
Was it Rep Pallies or Warriors that it was BOE? Or BOS, Best in Slot? BIS?
It was a Warrior. Well, honestly, it was damn near everybody except Rep Paladins.
Really? Why? What was BIS and...
Rep Paladins, the best in slot for them was the sword that dropped off Heroic Lich King.
I don't remember the name of that sword.
It's the Citadel Claymore or some shit like that. I use it as my transmog for my Paladin.
It's pretty dope looking. But yeah, like, we would, and so what that did was that created loyalty to us. They didn't take their gear and leave and go to another guild because they had a bunch of people there that were already geared. We geared them, and, no one else was going to be like, yeah, I'll take you under geared, gear you, and then keep you in a rating progression team. I don't know what this where did this infatuation come from of people with gear score? It doesn't make sense to me, especially now because people can fucking buy gear score.
Yep.
They can buy gear score.
It used to be that in order to buy a spot on a raid or something like that, you had to have some way of collecting gold. So you had to be good at the game in some form or fashion. Today, you can open your wallet and just shell out the cash and buy it, and you're good to go.
And I think that's dumb. I think that's where World of Warcraft has lost part of the magic to me. Was if you saw a person that was decked out in like heroic gear from current raid set, you knew that person earned that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know that anymore.
It's not that bad because there still aren't a lot of people that can afford it because prices are ungodly fucking high.
$355.
But it does exist.
Well, and I mean, not only does it exist in that fashion, but BOE, bind on equips, in auction houses. Those don't cost you $3.5 million.
You can also buy the legendary system in Legion right now is going away in Battle for Azeroth, and everybody's super happy about that because it's trash. But you can buy certain legendaries on the auction house.
Wait, which legendary system are we talking about?
The legendary system, how every class has multiple legendaries that affect the class in different ways.
Oh yeah, and their weapons are artifact weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going away in Battle for Azeroth too.
Going away in Battle for Azeroth.
So I'll say this,
which is very confusing to me.
Well, so I hated artifact weapons. I hated that they exist. I hated because to me it felt like a lazy move by the design team. I got a cough.
See, I'm still mad. The reason why I'm still mad and I'm salty as fuck is because Arms Warrior didn't get the goddamn Gorehell for their artifact. They got Stromkar the Worldbreaker. I bitched about this in the last podcast. I'm going to bitch about it again because Blizzard, you're fucking stupid for not doing it. You even had a model of it in the goddamn game. It was going to be a legendary drop that you got from Gromosh in Warlords of Draenor when he was originally planned to be the final boss.
Right.
And they were just like, nah, never mind, fuck it, chuck it. And then they're like, yeah, Archimon's the last boss now. Who gives a shit? Go fuck yourself, player base. All right, now we're going to move on to Legion. You get these cool weapons. By the way, Gorehell just never back in the fucking game. Who gives a shit? I'm just, ooh, God, it made me so fucking mad. I wanted Gorehell. I just wanted Gorehell. It made sense. It's a cool axe. It's got a hell of a lot of lore to it. It's basically the Ashbringer for warriors. And they're like, nah, we don't want it in the goddamn game.
You seem angry.
I'm very angry. It makes no sense.
I want to say the sentence, I'm sure there was a design decision oriented with that. On the other hand, I'm like, was it a dumb design decision? Because that's about the best one I can think of. I don't play Warriors, but yeah, it's, I know about Gorehell and its association with Warriors.
The only thing that I can think of that might have made them not do it is that you can get Gorehell in BC. It was an epic drop you get from one of the heroic dungeons. But that still doesn't make any sense because people have Corrupted Ashbringer in the game.
Yeah, Corrupted Ashbringer for Rat Pallies.
Yeah, and why? Why couldn't? And then they were. It was going to be a later drop, so it obviously showed that they were going to put it in the game. Maybe that's why they canceled it there. But it's not that hard just to take the item and no longer make it a drop.
Well, then it takes transmog away from the weapons. It doesn't take you can still transmog artifact weapons into whatever, right?
Yeah.
Relative to but they also have their unique look to them as well, right? So maybe they just thought, well, we'll just give them, you know, transmog for whatever, and they can have whatever they want.
But by that same token, now I can't have multiple looks of Gorehal. Plus, there's like a picture of the model of Gorehal from Warlords of Draenor going around because someone data mined it out. It looks like, because the model from BC it's basically just like a plain black axe. Like, imagine what you see Grommash use in the Warlords of Draenor cinematic. Imagine that, take off all the detailing on it, and then that's the Gorehal you get from BC. Because, you know, technology was limited. I'm not bitching about what it looked like then.
Limited textures.
But now, I don't get the really cool-looking version that has all the different variants to it, which I really wanted.
I don't get it either. Yeah. I'm glad they're bringing back normal weapons. I think the artifact system is stupid. I think artifact weapons and artifact power are stupid. It's overcomplicating the game, in my opinion, and instead of giving us complicated skill trees, you're just giving us stat sticks with our artifact weapons and artifact power, and I think that's some of the worst things in the world you can do, is a stat stick. Stat sticks are dumb. Stop it.
And also, like, the relics that they give you to put, have you played Lead?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, like, the relics that they give you for the weapons, I care so fucking little about those. It is ridiculous. Like, I get a new relic and I'm just like, I don't care what it does. I'm just like, does it increase my item level? Put it in.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Hopefully Battle for Azeroth is a change in the right direction. It looks like it's very PvP centric, although it could be about the Titan Azeroth and the battle for the Titan Azeroth coming to life. We talked about that. World of Warcraft nerds, you probably know what we're talking about. Nobody else does, though. I think that'll be interesting if it goes that way, and I'm glad it's going to be more PvP centric, because I think that game, they're running out of people to kill. They're running out of bad guys to kill. I honestly don't think they have more than like one more expansion in them.
Yeah, especially with
unless they start just like generating new lore and new characters entirely, like they start rewriting or writing more history on, like where do they go from there? You're gonna kill multiverse gods or something?
Especially with the Throne of Antorus, because I don't know how much you looked into the Throne of Antorus, but the final boss of Throne of Antorus is an actual Titan. His name was Agrimar. He's a fallen Titan. We're gonna kill a Titan.
Well, then that's okay. Yeah, that's Blizzard.
He's not as powerful as Sargeras, but he's still a Titan.
It's like, we're going to kill a fallen Titan. By the way, Sargeras is a Titan. Like, the next logical step is, hey, Sargeras.
Yeah.
Your foot's stuck in a portal somewhere, right? We're just gonna beat on your foot until you're dead. Dude, that's the raid, Sargeras' foot. They're gonna have 2 raids. First wing, Sargeras' foot. Second wing, peg leg Sargeras.
I just feel like there's gonna be like a little clip showing up, just like, what the fuck? Shit, guys, get me out of here! Guys, my foot's stuck! Fucking hell! They're hitting it! They're fucking hitting my foot!
Oh. So off of World of Warcraft and on to other things that make people angry. Well, I guess, speaking of games which have new content, of which Destiny's not included, of which another game that you don't play but you have, well, you do play but you did play it, but you don't want to play it anymore.
I know what we're talking about, and I don't know what we're talking about right now.
Rainbow Six Siege, guys, has a new season. WoW will never die totally.
It will die when Blizzard decides that it dies. It will never die from the player base, because I
think it will die with the player base when there is no longer content being produced.
Yeah.
And I think Blizzard has maybe one more expansions in them, and that's why they're doing classic servers now, because they're going to have 1 or 2 more expansions, and they're going to be like, relive through all 12 fucking expansions in a 2-year progression server of accelerated leveling and progression. And that's going to be like World of Warcraft for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So, like, World of Warcraft probably has, like, a sticker price of, like, 4 more years left on it. That's the lifespan. That's the shelf life. Like, 4 or 5 more years, I think, total. because we may get Battle for Azeroth in 2018, maybe early 2019. I'd put my money on 2018. Blizzard usually doesn't announce things more than like a year out.
The alpha is coming out in January.
So 2018 it is.
Yeah.
Then. Those alphas run like 6 months or whatever, and they go through progressive stages. So 2018, and then another expansion probably in 2 to 3 years. So 2020, 2021. That'll probably be the last expansion is 2020, 2021. World of Warcraft came out in 2004. 2020 would be 16 years. What if they... I don't know. But
the only thing I can see them doing past Sargeras is the Void Lords. And I don't know how they're going to do that unless they straight up want to tear apart the universe that Azeroth sits in.
Well, they kind of did that with Cataclysm a little bit.
No, that was the world. I'm talking like universe as in the literal entire universe.
Money down, it's still alive in 4 years. Yeah, but I think it'll be alive in 4 years not because of expansions. It'll be alive in 4 years because of classic servers rotating through expansions. I think that's how they're going to keep World of Warcraft alive. There's going to be this expansion, one if we don't kill Sargeras, one more expansion, and then I think they're going to have classic servers, classic progression servers, which are just going to rotate all the way through until they get to the point of... and I think they'll use that to figure out what they're going to do next for the next MMO. Unless they just write in new things.
I kind of hope they have an active subchart so that way, like, you can see which expansions are popular and which ones aren't. Like, it'll be like a legitimate, like, massive subs for Classic into Burning Crusade under Lich King, and then, like, it dips a little bit in Cataclysm, and then it drops super hard in Mist of Pandaria because no one gives a shit, and then it still stays low in Warlords, and then it goes back up in Legion.
Warlords of Draenor starts really good, then everybody remembers how disappointing it was, and it goes down just like the beginning. See, like, you don't care about Classic Tombstone, but 5% I'd say is way underestimating it. I'd say it's probably like 30 to 40% care about Classic servers. 30 to 40% because there was a Classic server that was run, I don't remember the name of it. Nostalrius. That had a 500,000 person player base. And that was an unofficial server.
And most people don't want to put the effort in to get on a private server, especially with the way they updated how you log on in in Cataclysm stuff.
Or they're not tech savvy enough to do it.
Yeah.
How many people are tech savvy enough to do that kind of shit? Server modification of what IP address it pings whenever you sign into the launcher.
Mm-hmm.
Like, mostly it's putting executables in certain files and hitting run. But some people, that's still really complex for some people. So I think 30 to 40% of the population care about Classic servers in the sense of Vanilla or BC Classic.
Now, I think he is right in the 5% that actually know what they're getting themselves into and actually want it.
Yeah, the 5% of players actually know what Classic is and that you're going to be playing for 2 fucking weeks and you won't be level 20 in 2 fucking weeks. And then 2 months later, you won't, yeah.
Like, I guarantee you, there are people out there that think they're going to start up Classic, and they think they're going to cap in a month, and then start raiding.
No.
And it's like, you do not know
holy shit,
what you just signed yourself up for.
2 months later, you're going to be like level 56, doing nothing but killing like mobs out in Badlands.
I remember how frustratingly difficult, like the reason why, and I remember it was both of us, why neither of us really dabbled in
played World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
we dabbled. But
the reason why neither of us played to the extent that we ever to the extent that we did like in Wrath and stuff like that was WoW was hard.
Yeah, for little kids like 11, 12 at the time.
Like you pull 2 or 3 mobs, you die.
I was 12 at the time when I was 12 when World of Warcraft came out.
Yeah.
And for a 12-year-old, World of Warcraft was a lot of grinding, dude. Oh, it was a lot of grinding.
Yeah, because like you don't know how to put together the sort of like efficient systems to grind and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then people think like, for me personally, I think it'd be interesting to go back to Classic for a challenge. I don't know that I'll want to stay in Classic for months and months and months and months and months.
Here's what I would do. I would go to Classic if I could buy level 60.
Yeah. Yes and no.
I would shell out, like, if it was $60 for a level 60, I would shell out $60 for level 60, and I would learn the class, because, like, you know, it's not that hard to learn the class. Like, people think, oh, you need to level it to learn it. No, you need to go online and look up a forum, and then just fucking read the forum, you lazy sack of shit.
1, 2, 3, 4. Wait. Global cooldown. 1, 2,
Yeah.
3. That's really. Or, like, I mean, if you're playing on, if you're, like, during Wrath, Rep Paladin's rotation was, whatever's on cooldown, dude. Just whatever's on cooldown, dude, and you're gonna be top the charts.
Yeah.
Because everything in Next Rammus is undead. I loved playing a Rep Pally in Next, dude. And we had, like, 3 moves, like, fucking, and it's just, like, whatever's on cooldown.
And, like, it was really interesting, because, like, if you weren't in Nax, you better not be playing a fucking Rep Paladin. But if you were in Nax, it's like, yeah, alright, it's acceptable. Because you do a lot more now.
Like, there was a period in Wrath where Rep Paladins were the shit. And then there was a period in Wrath where, like, hey, Rep Paladins are the shit.
Classic?
No, Wrath.
Wrath, okay.
Wrath. Yeah, there was a period in Wrath where they were the shit. It was during Next Rammus. And then they're like, hey, Rep Paladins are the shit. They should not be the shit anymore. And then we were just bad. We were just bad for a while. Prop Pallies were still amazing for tanking in Wrath.
I think the issue that happened in Wrath was Death Knights came out, and as Death Knights came out, they nerfed Paladins.
Mm-hmm.
And Death Knights were horribly unbalanced when they came out. So it was like...
Yeah, because I played a Blood Decay.
Yeah, so like what happened was, they're like, okay, you slightly reduce the usability of this melee DPS, and then add this other melee DPS that's way fucking better.
Like, so, Blood Decays were so OP at an extent, I did not need a healer in a raid.
Yeah, no.
Raid, I didn't need a healer, guys!
And, like, that was a pretty consistent theme up until recent, because the way that they always wanted Rep Paladins to be played was they always wanted them, or not Rep Paladins, but Blood Death Knights to be played was a lot of self-healing. And I remember in Cataclysm, I was raid geared. Yeah. And then I would do my daily heroics. When I joined in the daily heroics, I would say to the healer, you can go DPS if you want. And they're like, what? And I'm like, you can go DPS. And like, I remember there was this one guy, and like, I was pulling heavy too. There was this one guy, I told him that, he's like, no, I'll just stay healer, you know. And he cited some bullshit reason, was basically calling me cocky. I was like, whatever, dude. About 5 minutes later, he asked me to stop pulling shit so he could respec, so he could start doing DPS, because he didn't need to fucking heal me.
There was also, what's the fucking, healing spec of shamans?
Resto
Shamis. I had Resto Shamis in my raid group that could build so much haste, and they would do this. They would build so much haste, they would heal the raid, and they'd also DPS. Mm-hmm. And they'd be like number 6 or 7 in DPS charts. Because they had they would be like, heal, DPS, heal, DPS.
That's what Blizzard always wanted.
Wait, it is?
No, yeah. That's what they wanted to an extent, because like, that's what healers are now. Like, for instance, Discipline Priest, they have this, what's the hell called? It's like Prayer of Dark Mending or something like that. Basically, you heal somebody, and then as you deal damage, anybody with the Prayer of Dark Mending debuff gets healed for the damage you deal. So Discipline Priests are basically now, you put this on somebody, and then you just DPS as much as you can. Or I have like a level 90 Shaman right now, and that's exactly what it is. And they're busted too, because they don't have to rely on the resource system that Elemental Shamans do for their damage. So I actually do more DPS in Resto spec while actually healing than I do in Elemental spec when I'm purely trying just to DPS.
That is actually stupid.
It's kind of stupid.
It is actually stupid. I guess we'll talk about Siege now, though. We had a great transition, and then we're like, speaking of World of Warcraft again.
Yeah.
So, we got you Siege. There was a free weekend. Do you like it?
Do I like it? Okay, this is a hard question to answer. Do I like what I have currently? No. Would I like it if I had a lot of the different classes for more variety, so I wasn't doing the same thing every match? Yes.
So, and this is something that Ubi has done. Ubisoft has become one of my favorite developers over the last, like, 3 or 4 years, just to the sheer quality of stuff that they put out with might I say, lack of unfair microtransactions. I don't know if I've actually encountered a Ubisoft game that has microtransactions that would make me go, this is pay to win. I feel like I have to pull out my wallet to actually get anywhere in the game. You know, I don't think there's been a Ubisoft game like that, personally. And Siege is definitely one of those, because everything in Siege is purely cosmetic. There is zero advantage, other than Season Pass for operators, okay? But there are new seasons coming out, and there's 3 new operators, Vigil, Dokabi, and Zofia. Dokabi looks nuts. So, she calls the defender. She's an attacker. She can hack a defender's phone, and their phone will ring. It makes a buzzing noise, a vibrating, really loud vibrating, and you can hear it through, like, walls and shit, much like your mother's vibrator. It's
no, you did it, and I'm not proud of you.
Anyway, so yeah, like you could just it goes and you can hear it everywhere. And it's
See, fucking
no, just ignore them. Anyway, you can hear it everywhere, right? So you can hear them on the other side. This is like a super anti-roamer class because it makes it very obvious as to where they're at. And then if she kills someone and she picks up their phone, she can hack their phone and look at all the defender's cameras.
Really?
Really.
Wild.
So, including Valkyrie cameras. Now, Vigil needs some work. Vigil can turn invisible to cameras. And he's a defender. So he turns invisible to drones.
That sounds much more like an attacker.
That's what I thought. When they said Vigil turns invisible, I was like, oh, he's an attacker. He can turn invisible to cameras, right? No, he's a defender. He turns invisible to drones.
Like, don't get me wrong, that can be useful, but only certain classes can call up more... Oh, no. But, like, after a certain point, you don't really look at the drones anymore unless you're throwing an extra one down, or you're dead. And it can be somewhat helpful if you're dead, but at the same time, if everybody on your team destroys all the drones and you're in the middle of the fight, no one's going to throw out an extra drone, it doesn't matter all that much.
So here's the other place where they fucked up. When Vigil's invisible, there's a feedback loop on the camera. You can still use the camera, but it'll have this like little feedback loop at the bottom. So you can tell that there's a Vigil. So it doesn't fucking matter. So
it doesn't tell you where he is in the side of the camera. It just tells you he's near the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
That feels really pointless.
Yeah.
Now, if he was a defender, if he was an attacker, and there was that feedback loop, it'd be like, shit.
Right, yeah. Vigil's ability seems more of an attacker ability than a defender ability. But I think I'll tell you where they were thinking of this. Professional players. Because pro players use drones very heavily. Going into a room, drone it immediately. Break a window, drone. They don't even it's drone, they look around on their drone, nothing's in the room, they hop in the window, they get back on their drone, they drone the hallway, they go out in the hallway, they get back on their drone, they drone the next room, they go into the room, they get back on their drone, they drone the next. They're constantly using their drones, and they kind of have to at high level play for attackers, because if somebody's holding a cheeky angle, you don't want to walk into that room and try to fight it, because they're going to win, because they have the cheeky fucking angle, right? So, attackers are constantly using their drones. And for a professional player, Vigil makes sense. He might actually have kind of a high pick rate in pro play. Honestly, he might. But it doesn't make sense for the rest of the casual audience, and even like ranked audience in like bronze, silver, gold, plat. Maybe to diamonds it makes sense, but honestly, not really. And So his abilities just like, well, pro players might find him useful. No one else will. Pro players might, though. It doesn't make sense to me. And then there's Zofia. She has, Ash, right? Ash can blow through walls using her grenade launcher.
Yeah.
Zofia has a grenade launcher that can blow through walls as well. She also has concussion grenades as well. So she can shoot through walls, and then she can concuss people as well.
That's a really good point. Yeah, sorry to cut that off, but literally for defenders you have Mute,
right,
who does that to a better extent.
He stops drones completely, outright, and he does it. Yeah, you're right, for a better extent. He stops drones entirely. Mute does, because the drone doesn't even get in the window. It lands in the window and it's jammed. He doesn't see anything. It goes up the stairs and it's jammed. It doesn't see anything. What's the counter to Vigil, though? Does anything actually counter Vigil? I mean, it only works in a 12-meter radius.
It seems like nothing really counters Vigil, but it's also like nobody really fucking cares.
Yeah, because it's just one person. How valuable is
IQ.
that on one person? Oh, IQ, that's right. IQ can see him whenever he's using it, and that's kind of it, really. Yeah, he's gonna need a rework. They've had to rework, mid-season reinforcements have reworked several operators. They're gonna rework Vigil. They're just gonna have to rework him, because that ability already seems pretty pointless. Or what is his face with the heartbeat tracker? Pulse, but Pulse is a defender, so Vigil and IQ would both be on defender side, so that, yeah, Pulse could technically counter him, but that's why I think Vigil's a better attacker. And Dokebi could actually be a defender as well. She could make attackers' phones ring, and you would know where the attackers are coming. Now, the hacking ability, she could hack their drones and see what their drones are doing, which means she could see where they throw them from, which would also be really useful. Be less useful than hacking cameras. Dokebi is definitely the best operator out of all three, though, in my opinion. Out of everybody. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll look at getting a different version of Siege for you. And, because I love Siege. I'm looking forward to this new season and this new map. It's going to be fun. We should have actually talked about this next one, though, when we were talking about EA. This next topic when we were talking about EA. Because Cyberpunk 2077. Now, you know CD Projekt Red, the guys that make The Witcher.
Yeah.
The Witcher 3. Their next game is Cyberpunk 2077. And they showed this game off, I think, maybe 1 to 2 years after The Witcher 3 came out. And everyone was just like, huh? And I'm still hunting from Cyberpunk 2077 because it hits two notes that I love. It hits Cyberpunk and massive open world RPG. Apparently there's a multiplayer element to it as well, but they have not gone into detail about that. Anyway, they were talking on Twitter, and they were talking some fucking smack talk to EA, dude. They literally said Cyberpunk 2077 will not have microtransactions on release. We leave the greed to others.
I mean, that's a really fair point considering the fiasco we just saw with Battlefront 2.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's nice to see, like, CD Projekt Red has always been a developer that gets ahead wherever they can. And for Battlefront 2 to come out and make a statement, like, for Battlefront 2 to be going through all this shit, and then CD Projekt Red going,
fuck you.
Yeah, basically is what they did. Like, you know, fuck you, bitch. StarCraft, Blizzard did that as well with StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2 going free to play. Like, they literally posted on Twitter, they were like, how many loot boxes do you have to buy to play StarCraft 2? None. It's free, bitch. And it's like, damn!
They're kind of, yeah, I mean, like, it's honestly kind of a hilarious thing because EA literally just opened the door to allow other people to be able to use them as a scapegoat to say, we're better than them because we don't force microtransactions up your ass.
That's literally what we're better than EA. That's the selling point this holiday season. We're better than EA. We don't introduce your child to gambling.
Yeah.
God damn. Holy shit, campaign. Somebody hire me right now. I got some campaign ads we're gonna run with. Oh my god, that's just fucking... And listen, if you're not affiliated with EA, I'd do it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I would do it. Not introducing your child to gambling. We're the better gaming company. That's fucking hilarious. Speaking of the holiday shopping season.
Black Friday.
It's coming. Hordes and hordes in Walmart. Hordes.
I think this is the year I finally hit a mom.
Oh, this is the year, huh? This year you will finally beat the shit out of Catherine for that crock pot. for $19.99.
No, I mean that's kind of a good point. Like,
Beating
No,
Catherine for $19.99.
I kind of let into that wrong.
Yeah,
Hear
a
me
little
out for a
bit.
second. Like legitimately, here's the strat. Okay, you go to Walmart. All right, you have one guy dress up all black, completely cover himself so you can't see any defining features on him. All right, you get in line for like the really limited items, like the 52-inch TV that they're selling for like $400. Some crazy low price. All right, you have him run in. Pop a couple of shots into the air, everybody freaks the fuck out and takes off running. You move up like 15 spots in the line.
What the fuck? I would like to go on record, we do not endorse this method of Black Friday shopping.
He does not, I do.
He does not endorse this method of Black Friday shopping. Catherine will kick your ass for $19.99.
Pretty sure I could beat the shit out of Catherine.
Listen,
She'd come at me with the right cross. Dude, I'd duck that shit left hook into a right knee. Bitch ain't see it coming.
Those soccer moms, man, believe it or not, they can wag that finger at you and scream like a bitch. That's about all they're gonna do. Holy shit. No, don't. Only in America. You know, honestly, I think on Black Friday, if somebody came in and shot like a gun into the air, people would stay in line.
Oh, they definitely would. That's why I said you'd only move up like 15 spots. I never said you'd get to the front of the line. You'd get to the front of the line if you started shooting people, not shooting into the air.
Wow. most people would be like, well, he ain't shot anybody yet. I'm staying in line.
That's why you tell the guy, like, I'll be wearing a red jacket. Just don't shoot red.
It doesn't work. It's the holiday season. Red and green are festive colors.
Alright. I mean, well, like, I just tried to think of like a bright... Listen, not everybody's going to be wearing a red jacket, okay? And you only have to shoot like 3 people to get everybody moving.
No.
You can't say I'm wrong.
We do not endorse shooting people on Black
I
Friday.
do not endorse you shooting people. I'm making a point.
Or gun violence in general, honestly. Just don't kids get mental help this holiday season. The 42-inch LCD Samsung ain't worth it.
I don't know.
That's like, what? Gunfire in a public space? I'm pretty sure that's a felon.
Oh, that's a felony.
Yeah, don't do it.
Well, no, discharge a weapon in a public space is a misdemeanor. As long as it doesn't injure anybody or damage public property.
As long as you can prove there was no intent to harm.
Yeah.
If they can get you on an intent to harm, though, that
Then
would
it
be
would be a
attempted.
felony.
That would be attempted assault with a deadly weapon
Would be a felony.
or murder.
However, load the gun with blanks.
Don't
You still get the gunshot.
Load. Don't just fucking.
You're right. Don't put blanks in your gun. It gums up the gun really fast.
Wow. Listen, when you're in the crowd of people, no one can hear Catherine scream. Just punch the bitch.
Yeah, but if I punch Catherine, then she can go get security, and then I lose my spot in line completely. I'm just saying,
Not if you
the
get lost
safest
in the
method
Oh
is
my
a
God.
couple of rounds into the air.
It's not. No.
Listen, if that guy takes off running afterwards, nobody's gonna catch him.
What
in
if you
time.
get that Rambo veteran that's always like open carry and just pop, pop, pop?
Let's be honest here. If there's a Rambo veteran, he's probably got PTSD, and he's gonna shoot Catherine for you at that point.